The Johnson family was very happy. After months of planning, they were finally going on their beach vacation. Marcus Johnson drove their blue SUV down the highway, while his wife Tanya looked at the map on her phone. In the back seat, their children Zoe, who was 12, and Lucas, who was 10, played games on their tablets. "How much longer, Dad?" asked Lucas, looking up from his game. "About 3 more hours," Marcus said with a smile. "We'll be at the beach before dinner time." Marcus was a tall, strong man with kind eyes. He worked as an FBI agent for 15 years and was very good at his job. Tanya was a high school principal who loved teaching and helping students. The family lived in a nice house in the city, but they always looked forward to their summer vacations together. "I can't wait to build sandcastles," Zoe said, putting down her tablet, "and swim in the ocean." The family stopped at a small diner for lunch. They ate burgers and fries and talked about all the fun things they would do at the beach. Marcus paid the bill, and they got back on the road. The sky was blue, and the sun was shining. It seemed like a perfect day. As they drove into Sundale County, Marcus noticed a police car in his mirror. The police car followed them for a long time. Marcus checked his speed. He was driving exactly at the speed limit. He was always careful about following all the rules of the road. "Everything okay?" Tanya asked. She saw Marcus looking in the mirror many times. "We have company," Marcus said quietly. He didn't want to worry the kids. The police car turned on its lights and made a loud noise. Marcus took a deep breath and pulled over to the side of the road. He had been in this situation before. He knew what to do. "Why are we stopping, Dad?" asked Zoe. "It's just a police officer, sweetie. Nothing to worry about," Marcus told her calmly. 2 police officers got out of their car and walked toward the Johnson family's SUV. One officer went to the driver's side where Marcus sat. The other officer stood by Tanya's window. Both officers looked very serious. "License and registration," said the first officer. His voice was cold, and he didn't smile. His hand rested near his gun. "May I ask why you pulled me over, officer?" Marcus asked politely. "Just give me your license and registration," the officer said again, louder this time. Marcus moved slowly. "I'm going to reach for my wallet in my back pocket," he explained as he moved. He knew it was important to tell the officer what he was doing. The officer took Marcus's license and looked at it for a long time. Then he looked at Marcus, then back at the license. "Step out of the vehicle, sir," the officer said. "May I ask why?" Marcus asked. His voice was still calm, but Tanya could see worry in his eyes. "This car matches the description of one used in a crime. Everyone needs to get out now," the officer said. Tanya felt her heart beat faster. She looked back at her children. Zoe held Lucas's hand. The boy looked scared. "It's going to be okay," Tanya told them. But she wasn't sure if that was true. The second officer opened Tanya's door. "Ma'am, please step out with the children." The family stood by the side of the road. Cars drove past them. Some people slowed down to look. Marcus felt angry inside, but he kept his face calm. He knew why they were really stopped. It had nothing to do with their car matching any description. The officers started searching their SUV. They pulled out suitcases and beach bags. They opened Marcus's bag and dumped his clothes on the ground. They looked through Tanya's purse. Lucas started to cry. "Dad, why are they doing this?" Marcus wanted to hug his son, but the officers had told them to stand still. "Just stay calm, Lucas. This is all a mistake. It will be over soon," Marcus said. But Marcus knew this was not just a mistake. This was happening because they were black, and the officers had no idea who they were dealing with. The officers kept searching the Johnson family's SUV. They looked in every bag and under every seat. They found nothing wrong, but they didn't stop. The taller officer, whose name tag said Officer Wilson, looked angry that he couldn't find anything. "What's in this box?" Officer Wilson asked, holding up a small black box from Marcus's suitcase. "It's my anniversary gift for my wife," Marcus said. "We've been married for 15 years next week." Officer Wilson opened the box anyway. Inside was a pretty silver necklace with a heart charm. He put it back without saying sorry. The sun was hot, and the family had been standing by the road for almost 30 minutes now. Lucas was still crying quietly. Zoe tried to be brave, but her lips were shaking. Tanya wanted to comfort her children, but the second officer, Officer Reynolds, told her to stay still. "Can my children at least sit in the shade?" Tanya asked. "It's very hot out here." "They're fine where they are," Officer Reynolds said. Marcus felt his anger growing, but he kept his voice calm. "Officers, you've searched our car and found nothing. We're just a family going on vacation. Can you please tell us what's really going on?" Officer Wilson walked up very close to Marcus. "We got a report about a black SUV carrying drugs through this county. Your car matches that description. There are thousands of black SUVs on this highway," Marcus said. "Did this report mention a family with 2 children?" The officer didn't answer. Instead, he said, "Where are you coming from, and where are you going?" "We're from Cedar Heights, going to Ocean Bay for a week at the beach," Marcus explained. "I'm happy to show you our booking for the beach house." Officer Wilson ignored this. "Open your trunk," he ordered. Marcus pushed the button on his key to open the trunk. The officers went through everything in there too. They moved aside beach chairs, a cooler, and the children's beach toys. Finding nothing suspicious, they looked more frustrated. "I want to see some ID from everyone," Officer Wilson said. "My children are 10 and 12 years old. They don't have ID," Marcus said. "Then just you and your wife," the officer demanded. Tanya reached for her purse, which the officers had left on the hood of the car. She took out her driver's license and handed it over. The officers looked at both Marcus and Tanya's IDs for a long time. "Johnson, what do you do for work, Mr. Johnson?" Officer Wilson asked. Marcus had been waiting for this question. He had 2 choices. He could tell them he was an FBI agent now, or he could wait and see how far they would take this unfair treatment. "I work for the federal government," Marcus said simply. "Doing what exactly?" the officer pressed. "I'm in law enforcement," Marcus said. The officers looked at each other. They seemed unsure for a moment, but then Officer Wilson's face hardened again. "Put your hands behind your back, Mr. Johnson," he said suddenly. "What? Why?" Tanya cried out. "I'm detaining him for further questioning," Officer Wilson said. Zoe stepped forward. "Dad didn't do anything wrong. Leave him alone." Officer Reynolds put his hand on Zoe's shoulder to push her back. This was too much for Marcus. "Take your hand off my daughter right now," Marcus said. His voice was quiet but very firm. "Or what?" Officer Reynolds challenged. Marcus reached slowly into his jacket pocket. Both officers immediately put their hands on their guns. "Don't move," Officer Wilson shouted. "I'm just taking out my identification," Marcus said calmly. He pulled out a small leather wallet and opened it. Inside was a shiny gold badge and his FBI identification card. "My name is Special Agent Marcus Johnson of the Federal Bureau of Investigation," he said clearly. "And I believe you 2 officers have just made a very big mistake." The officers' faces changed immediately. Officer Wilson's mouth fell open. Officer Reynolds took a step back. We didn't." Officer Wilson stammered. "I want your supervisor here." "Now," Marcus said. His voice was calm but powerful. He was no longer just a man being harassed on the side of the road. Now he was FBI Agent Johnson, and he was in charge. Everything changed after Marcus showed his FBI badge. Officer Wilson and Officer Reynolds stood frozen, their faces pale. The road was quiet except for the sound of cars passing by. I'm sorry, sir," Officer Wilson finally said. "We didn't know you were FBI." Marcus put his badge away. "That shouldn't matter," he said firmly. "You shouldn't treat any family this way, FBI or not. We were just following protocol," Officer Reynolds tried to explain. What protocol tells you to dump a family's belongings on the ground? To keep children standing in the hot sun? To push a 12-year-old girl? Marcus asked. His voice was steady, but his eyes were intense. Call your supervisor, Marcus repeated. Now. Officer Wilson went back to the police car. He made a phone call while Officer Reynolds stood awkwardly, not knowing what to say. Tanya went to the children and hugged them close. Is Dad in trouble? Lucas whispered to his mother. No, sweetie, Tanya said. Dad is making sure the officers are in trouble. 20 minutes later, another police car arrived. A man in a neat uniform stepped out. His badge said Captain Brooks. He looked worried as he walked over. I'm Captain Brooks, he said, offering his hand to Marcus. I understand there's been an incident. Your officers stopped my family without cause, Marcus explained. They searched our car without permission. They kept my children in the heat, and Officer Reynolds put his hands on my daughter. Captain Brooks looked at the officers, then at the Johnson family, and then at their belongings scattered on the ground. This is completely unacceptable, Captain Brooks said. He turned to the officers. Help the Johnsons pack their things back immediately. The officers hurried to pick up the clothes and items they had thrown around. They worked quickly, not looking at the family. Agent Johnson, I want to personally apologize to you and your family, Captain Brooks said. This is not how our department operates. I promise you there will be consequences. Marcus nodded. I appreciate that, Captain. But I want to be clear, this isn't just about me being FBI. This is about how your officers treated a black family traveling through your county. I understand, Captain Brooks said, and I agree. May I ask what you plan to do about this? I'm going to file an official complaint, Marcus said, and I'll be speaking with the Department of Justice about a possible investigation into your department's practices. Captain Brooks looked worried, but he nodded. That's your right, sir. After the officers finished repacking the car, Captain Brooks apologized again. He gave Marcus his business card and promised to start an internal investigation immediately. The Johnson family got back in their SUV. Marcus sat in the driver's seat but didn't start the car right away. Everyone was quiet. Tanya reached over and took his hand. Are you okay? She asked quietly. I'm angry, Marcus admitted, but I'm also glad the children saw that we can stand up for ourselves, that we don't have to accept unfair treatment. Will those police officers get in trouble, Dad? Zoe asked from the back seat. Yes, they will, Marcus said, and hopefully they'll learn to be better officers. Marcus started the car and pulled back onto the highway. The beach house was still 2 hours away, but the family needed something positive after what happened. How about we stop for ice cream? Marcus suggested. I think we all deserve a treat. The children cheered, and even Tanya smiled. The bad experience wasn't forgotten, but they wouldn't let it ruin their vacation. As they drove away, Marcus looked in the rearview mirror. The police cars were getting smaller in the distance. He had a lot of work to do when they got back from vacation. This wasn't just about one bad traffic stop. It was about making sure no family had to go through what they experienced. Dad? Lucas called from the back seat. Yes, son. I'm proud of you, the boy said simply. Marcus smiled. Even on this difficult day, his family gave him strength. Now he would use his position to make real change. The Johnson family arrived at their beach house just before sunset. It was a pretty blue house with white shutters, sitting close to the ocean. On any other day, they would have been excited to start their vacation. But today, they were all quiet as they carried their bags inside. Who wants to help me make dinner? Tanya asked, trying to bring some normal family feeling back. I will, Zoe offered. Lucas was still quiet, sitting on the couch and looking out the window at the ocean. Marcus put their bags in the bedrooms, then sat next to his son. Want to talk about what happened today? He asked gently. Lucas looked up at his father. Those police officers were mean to us because we're black, right? Marcus took a deep breath. This was a hard talk to have with a 10-year-old, but it was important. Yes, son. That's called racial profiling. Some people treat others unfairly because of the color of their skin. But that's not right, Lucas said. No, it's not, Marcus agreed. And that's why we have to speak up when it happens. While Tanya and Zoe made spaghetti for dinner, Marcus called his boss at the FBI. He explained what had happened and said he wanted to file an official complaint. His boss was angry about how the family had been treated and promised to support Marcus. After dinner, they walked on the beach. The ocean waves were calm, and the moon was bright in the sky. For a little while, they could forget about the bad things that had happened that day. Look at those stars, Tanya said, pointing up. You can see so many more here than at home. The children ran ahead, looking for seashells with their flashlights. Marcus and Tanya walked hand in hand behind them. Are you okay? Marcus asked his wife. I'm angry, Tanya said. And scared. What if you hadn't been there? What if it had just been me and the kids? Marcus squeezed her hand. That's why we can't stay quiet about this. It's not just about us. The next morning, their vacation truly began. They swam in the ocean, built sandcastles, and ate lunch at a small restaurant by the beach. The children seemed happy again, laughing and playing in the water. But Marcus had work to do. While the family was having fun on the beach, he spent 2 hours on the phone in the beach house. He called the police department's internal affairs office. He called a lawyer friend who worked on civil rights cases. He called a reporter he trusted at the local news station. When he joined his family on the beach afterward, Tanya could see the serious look on his face. What happened? She asked. The news wants to do a story, Marcus said. And other families have come forward. We weren't the first ones those officers stopped unfairly. What does that mean? Tanya asked. It means this could be bigger than just our complaint. There might be a pattern of racial profiling in that county. Later that afternoon, Marcus's phone rang. It was Captain Brooks from the police department. Agent Johnson, Captain Brooks said. I wanted to update you. Officers Wilson and Reynolds have been suspended while we investigate what happened. That's a start, Marcus said. But we need to talk about the bigger problems in your department. I know, Captain Brooks admitted. That's why I'm calling. Would you be willing to meet with me and the mayor when you return from your vacation? We want to make real changes, and we could use your help. Marcus was surprised. He didn't expect the police to ask for his help so quickly. Yes, I'll meet with you, Marcus agreed. But I'm bringing other people with me, people from the community who have been affected by these practices. I understand, Captain Brooks said. Thank you. After the call, Marcus went back to his family on the beach. Lucas was trying to learn how to use a boogie board in the small waves. Dad, watch me, Lucas called, waving. Marcus smiled and waved back. He was still going to fight for justice, but right now, his son needed him to just be dad. The work would continue when vacation was over, but these moments with his family were precious too. 3 days into their vacation, the Johnson family had settled into a happy routine. They spent mornings at the beach, afternoons exploring the small town, and evenings playing board games or watching movies together. The bad start to their trip was not forgotten, but they were making good memories now. On Wednesday morning, Marcus was drinking coffee on the porch when his phone rang. It was the reporter he had talked to earlier. Agent Johnson, my story about what happened to your family will be on the news tonight, the reporter said. Several other families have shared their stories too. This is becoming a big story. Thank you for covering it, Marcus said. People need to know this is happening. Later that day, the family went to a small aquarium in town. They watched colorful fish swim in big tanks and even touched a friendly stingray in a special pool. The children were excited and happy. As they walked back to their car, a woman approached them in the parking lot. Excuse me, she said. Are you the Johnson family? Marcus stepped forward protectively. Yes, we are. Can I help you? The woman smiled. My name is Linda Carter. I saw your picture in the newspaper this morning. The same thing happened to my family last summer in Sundale County. Tanya looked surprised. They stopped you too? Yes, Linda said. Those same officers. They searched our car and made us stand in the hot sun for an hour. My husband is a teacher, and I'm a nurse. They found nothing, of course, but it was scary and humiliating. I'm sorry that happened to you, Marcus said. No, I came to thank you, Linda said. No one listened to us when we complained. But now, because of you, people are finally paying attention. As they talked, another family walking by overheard them. They stopped and shared their own story about being stopped unfairly in Sundale County. Soon, a small group had formed in the parking lot, all sharing similar experiences. We should all speak up together, Marcus suggested. The more voices, the harder we are to ignore. That evening, the Johnsons watched the news in their beach house. The story about what had happened to them was the top story. The reporter showed pictures of Marcus in his FBI uniform and interviewed 3 other families who had been stopped by the same officers. The police chief of Sundale County has called for a full review of all traffic stops in the last 3 years, the reporter said. And the mayor has scheduled a town hall meeting next week to discuss community concerns. You did this, Dad, Zoe said proudly. You made them listen. No, we all did it together, Marcus said. And all these other families too. The next morning, Marcus got an email from his boss at the FBI. His boss wanted him to lead a training program for police departments about racial profiling and fair treatment. It would be a new role for Marcus, one where he could make real change. What do you think? He asked Tanya, showing her the email. I think you'd be perfect for it, she said. You know what it's like from both sides, as an FBI agent and as a black man who has faced unfair treatment. At the beach that afternoon, a man and his son set up their umbrella near the Johnson family. The man kept looking over at them. Finally, he walked over. I saw you on the news last night, the man said to Marcus. I'm a police officer in Ocean Bay. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for what happened to your family. And I'd like to learn how to be better at my job. Marcus stood up and shook the man's hand. That's the first step, wanting to be better. The 2 men talked for a long time while their children played together in the sand. They didn't agree on everything, but they listened to each other. It was a small moment, but it gave Marcus hope. That night, as the family ate dinner on the porch of their beach house, they could see fireworks over the ocean. Someone in town was having a celebration. Do you think things will really change? Lucas asked. Change is hard, and it takes time, Marcus told his son. But yes, I think things can change if enough people work together to make it happen. The colorful fireworks lit up the sky, bright against the darkness. They reminded Marcus that even small sparks could bring light to dark places. The next day, Marcus's phone would not stop ringing. The news story had spread beyond the local station. Now big TV channels wanted to talk to him. Important people from Washington, D.C. called to ask about what happened. Even the governor of the state left a message. This is getting bigger than I expected, Marcus told Tanya as they walked on the beach that morning. The children were ahead of them, looking for shells. Are you okay with that? Tanya asked. Marcus thought for a moment. Yes, I think so. If it helps make real change happen. Later that day, a letter came to their beach house. It was from Officer Wilson, one of the police officers who had stopped them. Marcus opened it carefully and read it. What does it say? Tanya asked. He's apologizing, Marcus said, surprised. He says he's been thinking hard about what happened and how he acted. He admits he was wrong. Do you believe him? Tanya asked. I'm not sure, Marcus said honestly, but it's a start. That afternoon, a woman from a civil rights group called Marcus. She had heard about what happened to the Johnson family. Her group had been collecting stories about unfair police stops in Sundale County for years. We need someone like you to help us, she said. Someone the police will listen to. I'll do whatever I can, Marcus promised. At dinner that night, the family talked about what was happening. I thought this was going to be just a regular vacation, Zoe said. But it's turned into something much bigger. Sometimes life works that way, Tanya explained. Small moments can lead to big changes. Is that why you always tell us to stand up for what's right? Lucas asked. Exactly, Marcus said. You never know how important it might be. The next day, they visited a water park. For a few hours, they just had fun, sliding down big water slides, floating in the lazy river, and eating ice cream. It felt good to just be a normal family enjoying their vacation. But when they got back to the beach house, there was a surprise waiting. TV news vans were parked outside. Reporters stood with cameras and microphones. Oh no, Tanya said. How did they find us? Marcus parked their car a block away. Let's go in through the back door, he suggested. They walked along the beach and entered their house through the back patio door. Once inside, Marcus called Captain Brooks. There are reporters outside our beach house, Marcus said. This is supposed to be our family vacation. I'm very sorry about that, Captain Brooks said. Someone must have leaked where you were staying. I'll send some officers to ask them to leave. An hour later, police cars arrived. But instead of just asking the reporters to leave, the police put up barriers to keep them away from the house completely. Captain Brooks himself came to the door. Agent Johnson, I want to personally apologize for this disturbance, he said. Your family deserves privacy during your vacation. Marcus was surprised by how helpful Captain Brooks was being. Maybe the man really did want to make things better. That evening, the family sat on the back porch where no one could see them. They watched the sunset over the ocean and ate pizza they had delivered. Only 2 more days of vacation left, Tanya said. Then back to real life. But real life is going to be different now, Marcus said. I have that new training program to develop and the meeting with the mayor next week. Are you nervous about it, Dad? Zoe asked. A little, Marcus admitted. It's a big responsibility. But I keep thinking about all those other families who went through what we did, but didn't have an FBI badge to protect them. You can help change things for them, Lucas said confidently. Marcus smiled at his son. We all can. Sometimes the most important thing is just to speak up. As darkness fell, they could see stars appearing in the sky. One by one, then hundreds, then thousands, each small but important, just like the voices speaking up for change. On the 6th day of their vacation, Marcus woke up early. The sun was just rising over the ocean. The house was quiet with everyone still sleeping. He made a cup of coffee and sat on the back porch, thinking about everything that had happened. His phone buzzed with a text message. It was from his boss at the FBI. Just saw the news. Very proud of how you're handling this. Call me when you get back. Marcus smiled. It felt good to have support from work. He watched the waves roll onto the beach as he finished his coffee. Inside the house, the family began to wake up. Lucas came out to the porch in his pajamas, rubbing his eyes. Morning, Dad, he said sleepily. Can we go fishing today? You promised. We sure can, buddy, Marcus said. He was glad Lucas was thinking about normal vacation things again. After breakfast, Marcus and Lucas went to the small fishing pier, while Tanya and Zoe went shopping in town. The pier was quiet, with only a few other people fishing that morning. An old man with a white beard sat near them. He had many fishing rods and a big tackle box. He nodded at Marcus and Lucas as they set up their fishing spot. Fish are biting good today, the old man said. Caught 3 already. Lucas looked excited. Marcus helped him put bait on his hook and showed him how to cast the line into the water. They sat together, watching the bobber float on the gentle waves. Dad, Lucas said after a while, what will happen to those police officers who stopped us? Marcus thought carefully before answering. They'll probably get more training on how to treat people fairly, and if they keep treating people badly, they might lose their jobs. Is that enough? Lucas asked. They were really mean to us. It's a start, Marcus said. Change takes time. The important thing is that they learn from what happened. Suddenly, Lucas's fishing rod bent sharply. Dad, I got something, he shouted. Marcus helped him reel in a small silver fish. Lucas was so proud. The old man came over to look. That's a good one, the old man said. First fish you ever caught? Yes, sir, Lucas said, beaming. Take a picture, the old man suggested. First catch is always special. Marcus took a photo of Lucas holding his fish. Then they carefully put the fish back in the water and watched it swim away. I saw you on the news, the old man said quietly to Marcus. What happened to your family wasn't right. No, it wasn't, Marcus agreed. I was a police officer for 40 years, the old man said. Retired now. We weren't all bad, but there were always some who gave the rest of us a bad name. Things need to change. Marcus nodded. It was good to hear this from a former officer. Later that day, the family had a picnic on the beach. They spread a big blanket on the sand and ate sandwiches and fruit. After lunch, they built a huge sand castle together. It had towers and a moat filled with water from the ocean. As they worked on the castle, a group of children playing nearby came over to look. Can we help? One little girl asked. Sure, Zoe said. Soon, the children were all working together on the sandcastle. Their parents came over too, and soon several families were building the castle together. One of the fathers recognized Marcus from the news, but he didn't make a big deal about it. He just smiled and said, "Thank you for speaking up. It matters." By evening, the castle was enormous, the biggest on the beach. People walked by to admire it and take pictures. What had started as a simple family activity had brought many different people together. As the sun began to set, Marcus looked around at all the people who had helped build the castle. They were all different, some black, some white, some Asian, some Hispanic, children and adults, all working together to create something beautiful. It's kind of like what we're trying to do in the real world, Tanya said softly, following his gaze, building something better together. Marcus nodded. Exactly. And it starts with small steps, just like this. As darkness fell, they had to leave their sand castle and return to the beach house. Tomorrow would be their last full day of vacation before heading home to face all the changes waiting for them there. On their last full day of vacation, the Johnson family decided to make special memories. They woke up early to watch the sunrise on the beach. The sky turned from black to purple to pink to orange. It was beautiful. I wish we could stay here forever, Zoe said as they sat on their beach blanket. Me too, Tanya agreed. But real life is waiting for us back home. After breakfast, they went on a boat tour to see dolphins. The boat captain was a friendly woman named Maria who had lived by the ocean her whole life. About 20 other tourists were on the boat too. Look over there, Maria called out after they had been sailing for a while. Dolphins. Everyone rushed to the side of the boat. 3 dolphins were swimming next to them, jumping in and out of the water. The children cheered and took pictures. They're so fast, Lucas said, watching the dolphins race alongside the boat. As they watched the dolphins, Marcus noticed a man on the boat staring at him. The man seemed to recognize him from the news. Marcus was getting used to that now, but instead of coming over to talk, the man just nodded respectfully and turned back to watch the dolphins. Not everyone wanted to talk about what had happened. Some people just wanted to show their support quietly. Marcus appreciated that. After the boat tour, they had lunch at a seafood restaurant by the harbor. Marcus ordered fish tacos, and they were the best he had ever tasted. For a few hours, they were just a normal family enjoying their vacation. That afternoon, they went back to the beach for one last swim in the ocean. While the children played in the waves with Tanya, Marcus got a phone call from Captain Brooks. Agent Johnson, I wanted to update you before you head home, Captain Brooks said. The police chief has decided to resign. Resign? Marcus was surprised. Because of what happened with us? Partly, Captain Brooks explained. But it's been building for a while. There have been too many complaints. The department needs new leadership. Who will be the new chief? Marcus asked. They've asked me to step in temporarily, Captain Brooks said. And I was hoping you might help us with some training when you get back. I'd be glad to, Marcus said. When he hung up, Marcus went to join his family in the water. The ocean was cool and refreshing. Zoe was teaching Lucas how to body surf on the small waves. Good news? Tanya asked, noticing Marcus's smile. The police chief resigned, Marcus told her. Captain Brooks is taking over for now. Do you think he'll make real changes? Tanya asked. I hope so, Marcus said. He's asked for my help with training. That evening, they packed their bags for the trip home tomorrow. The children were sad that vacation was ending, but they had many good memories to take back with them. As they finished packing, there was a knock at the door. Marcus opened it to find a delivery person with a large envelope. Special delivery for Agent Johnson, the delivery person said. Inside the envelope was a letter from the mayor of Sundale County, inviting Marcus to speak at a special town meeting about police reform. There was also a stack of letters from people who had heard their story on the news. What are those? Lucas asked, looking at all the letters. Letters from people who support us, Marcus said, reading through them. Some are from other families who had similar experiences. Some are from police officers who want things to change. One letter in particular caught his eye. It was from a young black police officer in Sundale County. Your story has given me courage, the officer had written. I've seen things in the department that aren't right, but I've been afraid to speak up. Now I'm not afraid anymore. Marcus showed the letter to Tanya. This is why it matters, he said. One person speaking up gives others courage to speak too. That night, as they sat on the back porch watching their last vacation sunset, Marcus felt both sad and hopeful. Sad that their vacation was ending, but hopeful about the changes that might come from what they had experienced. The morning they were supposed to leave, the Johnson family took one last walk on the beach. They wanted to say goodbye to the ocean. The sun was bright, and the water sparkled like it was full of tiny diamonds. I'm going to miss this place, Zoe said, digging her toes into the warm sand. We'll come back next year, Marcus promised. Maybe for 2 weeks instead of 1. They walked along the shore, picking up pretty shells to take home. Lucas found a perfect sand dollar and carefully put it in his pocket. These small treasures would help them remember their vacation. When they returned to the beach house, they were surprised to find a small group of people waiting for them. There were about 10 people standing near their car. Oh no, not more reporters, Tanya said quietly. But as they got closer, Marcus realized these weren't reporters. They were families, parents and children of different backgrounds. One woman stepped forward with a small girl holding her hand. Agent Johnson, I'm sorry to bother you on your last day. The woman said, we just wanted to thank you in person. Thank me? Marcus asked. We're all families who were stopped unfairly in Sundale County. The woman explained. We filed complaints, but nothing ever happened. Because of your family speaking up, people are finally listening to us too. The small girl handed Zoe a card. It was handmade with colorful drawings and the words "Thank you" written in crayon. We made this for your family, the girl said shyly. Marcus was deeply touched. Thank you for coming, he said, and for sharing your stories too. It takes all of us speaking up to make change happen. They talked for a few minutes. Each family had a similar story about being stopped for no good reason and treated badly. But now they had hope that things would improve. After saying goodbye to the families, the Johnsons packed their car for the trip home. As they drove away from the beach house, they looked back one last time at the ocean. This wasn't the vacation we expected, Tanya said. No, it wasn't, Marcus agreed. But maybe it was the vacation we needed. Instead of going home the way they came, Marcus took a different route that avoided Sundale County. It was a longer drive, but no one complained. They would face that place again, but on their own terms, not today. During the drive, Marcus got a call from his FBI boss. There would be a meeting next week about creating a new program to train police departments across the country. Marcus would lead the program. "They want to use what happened to us to help make things better," Marcus told his family after the call. "So our bad experience might help other families not have the same thing happen to them." Lucas asked. "That's right," Marcus said proudly. "Sometimes hard things happen for a reason." As they neared their hometown, they saw a big billboard by the highway. It had a picture of a police officer and a citizen shaking hands. The word said, "Building trust together." "Look at that," Tanya said. "Maybe things are starting to change already." When they pulled into their driveway at home, they were surprised again. Their neighbors were standing in the front yard with welcome home signs. There were balloons and a big cake on a table. "Welcome home, heroes," their neighbors cheered. Marcus was overwhelmed. He hadn't expected this. Their neighbor, Mrs. Wilson, who had lived on the street for 50 years, came up and hugged him. "We're all so proud of you," she said. "Standing up for what's right isn't always easy." As they joined their neighbors for the welcome home party, Marcus watched his children playing with the other kids from the neighborhood. They seemed happy to be home, even after their beach vacation. Later that evening, after their neighbors had gone home and the children were in bed, Marcus and Tanya sat on their front porch. "What a week," Tanya said, leaning her head on his shoulder. "It changed us," Marcus said. "All of us." "For the better," Tanya added. Marcus nodded. For the better. What had started as a simple family vacation had turned into something much more important. They had faced unfairness and stood up against it. They had shared their story and given others courage. They had started changes that might help many families in the future. And they had learned that sometimes one voice speaking up can make a difference in the world.